Well, good afternoon and welcome to our second equipping session for our network facilitators. I do hope that this message finds you well and encouraged and pressing on with the task of caring for others. In the midst of the conversations around how long will we have to have this physical distancing that's playing out in the media recently, understandably I'm hearing more and more people becoming more and more unsettled. Particularly the extroverted among us, but there are more people who are chomping at the bit for current regulations to be eased and so that some sense of normalcy can return. The truth is that for all of us, whether we're extrovert or introvert, we're at that point in any change where the reality that things are no longer as they were is beginning to bite. And we're not sure what things are going to look like on the other side. And that's probably true as well for each of you, our wonderful network facilitators. Some of you are in close contact with your network. Others perhaps not quite so much and could even be experiencing a bit of grief or guilt, perhaps wondering if the contribution you're making is what's required, what you signed up for, whether it's being valued or valuable. I want to assure each of you that these responses and more are all normal in a changing environment. I was talking to a friend the other day and around caring for others, and the term cat herding emerged in the context of that conversation. You might like to YouTube search on cat herding. There's a cracker of a recording on the YouTube. But sometimes working with and caring for others can resemble exactly that. You get the moggies that'll come up to you and they rub up on your legs and jump in your arms for a scratch under the chin, and we come away from those sorts of encounters, well, sneezing in my case, but rather covered with cat fur. No harm done really, and we feel satisfied that at least we've shared a bit of the love. But then there's always old Yeller. He's the one that's got a patch over his eye from being in one too many scraps. Old Yeller's a cat that snarls and spits and scratches at anything or anyone that gets too close. And we come away from those sorts of encounters scratched to bits and completely carved up, consoling ourselves that these too will be sacred scars, adding something to the sufferings of Jesus. I guess what I'm trying to say is we need to remember that there's a lot going on for a lot of people in this COVID-19 season and the regulations around physical distancing and its impact, and as well for you. So it's imperative that you attend to your own self-care. I learned a long time ago that if caregivers crash and burn, then there's no one left to give care, and we are in all sorts of strife. So my question this afternoon is, what are you doing for you? I'm not advocating that you get selfish, but then again, I am advocating that you care for yourself. Let me offer you with something of a checklist. When was the last time you watched a really good movie? Not just the Sunday night special, but maybe something off Netflix or Stan or Apple TV. When was the last time you read some comforting wisdom from Winnie the Pooh? When was the last time you prayed with another person? Your pastor, your confidant, your spouse, your friend. You can pray over the phone via Skype or via Zoom if need be. When was the last time you enjoyed a really good coffee? You can get takeout, or I'm happy to make one and bring it over to you and do a home delivery. When was the last time you included a treat for yourself, either a sweet or a savoury, in your weekly shopping? When was the last time you planted a tree or a seedling? When was the last time you read a special interest magazine? When was the last time you read a Marvel comic? When was the last time you laughed? When was the last time you made somebody else laugh? When was the last time you gave yourself a makeover? You know, you went to the hairdresser or the barber, because you can still do that. When was the last time you went for a walk or a cycle or a jog? When was the last time you went through your photo albums? When was the last time you gave yourself a pat on the back and said something like, I've survived what every day has put before me to this day, and I'm going to put into practice everything I've learned to thrive in this day. So I'm doing a good job. You know, sometimes we can beat ourselves up for no reason. We feel guilty or inadequate and withdraw into our caves when we think we may not be measuring up to the standards that we set for ourselves. Margaret Markison wrote an excellent leadership book. It's just a small one, but it's titled Leaders Who Last, and the subtext is they are themselves in their roles. I want to encourage you to recognize the uniqueness that is you. Take a moment to consider, in any given day, what are your daily rhythms? Where are your high energy points, your low energy points? And then look at your day and schedule your high energy, high engagement activities at your best times. This is when you'll be most productive, you'll be fulfilled and encouraged. These are the activities that put wind in your sails. They're the things that you feel most alive when you're doing it. It's the reason you get out of bed each day. And then schedule your least engaging activities at your low energy end of the day. If it's paper shuffling or telephoning, put a boundary around it. You know, 5-10-minute telephone calls can be made in 1 hour with a few minutes in between to catch your breath. Send your emails in a block, say between 1 and 2 o'clock while your lunch is settling. When you're feeling dozy, attend to your emails, read them and send them, rather than being distracted in your high output times by just simply sending bits and pieces and having to pick things up and put things down. Look, I know that sometimes we're waiting for a reply to emails to go to the next step in a project, but if possible, put your boundaries around technology. And talk with those in your network. Not everyone may need a contact every week, but knowing you're available is all some people may need to help them feel secure. For some people, it may be a telephone call, for others a text, maybe others an email. But find out from those in your network how they would like to be communicated with. What is their best medium? And let your network know how you work best, so that they can have some understanding of when they can expect to hear from you. Do your best to try and be consistent. And don't freak out if you miss a moment. Just let your network know in a group email or a text what's happening for you. Most people are really forgiving if they have some communication. I'm doing my best to get a regular weekly update to you every Thursday afternoon, so you can expect to see something from me then. This week's offering is a little early as I have a wedding on Thursday and another on Friday. But it's my hope that you're finding these offerings both informative and helpful to your role as network facilitator. The elders wish to let you know that we so value your support in caring for our community. May God bless us all as we press into Him. Thank you.